Good evening. This is CTV News for this snowy Thursday, February the 26th. I'm Sonia Shrivastava. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, as expected, our area was hit with morning snowfall, and that made for a very interesting commute for motorists. Our Byron Scott has that story.
Just say it ain't, but it is. Lots of it.
It is what it is. Just try and clean it up so I can get to work.
After the usual ritual of digging out, which really wasn't that bad today for some.
It's not too much. I mean, it's just a little snow.
That's because he don't want to go to school.
Motorists learned that road conditions for the morning commute varied. Some were in good shape.
Yeah, it's the roads are cleaned and everything is fine. It wasn't hard coming to this place.
Some were not.
It's a little rough out here. It is. As long as you stay on the main roads is okay. The little side roads, they really haven't cleaned them off yet.
Case in point, this street in Palmer Park. But have no fear, the county's Department of Public Works says it was ready. Indeed, plow trucks were at the ready where Ardwick-Ardmore Road intersects 704. Private contractors were out too, pushing away the snow and hopefully helping to usher in warmer temperatures.
I'm over the snow. I'm really over it.
By the time this story airs, streets that look like this will look more like this one, plowed and cleared of snow. Thus, the evening commute shouldn't be that bad, or so the forecast goes. Byron Scott, CTV News.
All right, let's hope so, Byron. Well, the snow has stopped, but a lot of neighborhoods are dealing with the aftermath of the storm. The snow created a layer of slush over dozens of Prince George's streets that will turn into ice as the temperature drops this evening. And we found these residents clearing the white stuff off their driveways and cars before it started to pile on.
It's not too bad because it's powdery, so it's not not the end of the world. It's better than like the ice, you know what I'm saying. But it's pretty okay. It's just powdery and it's light and easy to move. Last week, there was a whole bunch of ice, and I had to really get in there and get the ice from under the pavement.
And as many of you know, county schools were closed today due to the weather. Well, charter schools could become easier to operate in Maryland if Governor Hogan has his way. Hogan held a news conference with education leaders this afternoon to talk about his charter school bill just prior to a hearing on the issue. He also discussed legislation to create tax credits for people who make voluntary contributions to private or parochial schools.
There are some misconceptions about what this bill will do, and we would like to clear those misconceptions up. First, it does not take money from public schools. It does just the opposite and provides more money for public schools. This legislation provides tax credits to those who make voluntary contributions to public and non-public schools. Why in the world wouldn't we want to encourage voluntary contributions and more investment in our schools?
Currently, there are 47 charter schools statewide, majority of them in Baltimore City, which is about 31. Prince George's County has 9 or 10 schools, and also in Anne Arundel.
Governor Hogan's charter school bill establishes completely new, different, higher funding levels for the charter school students without adding any new dollars to all of public schools. So if the charter school students are getting more, it's going to come at the expense of traditional public school students. No way around it.
Hogan also discussed what he says are misconceptions about his education budget. The governor says claims that he has cut funding to public schools are false and that he has actually increased funding. He adds that critics are simply unhappy that they didn't get the full amount of money requested. Well, armed with new stats, Maryland Comptroller Peter Franchot plans to testify at a hearing in favor of a bill that would require public schools to start the academic year after Labor Day. Now, Franchot championed an initiative called Let Summer Be Summer, even though school administrators opposed it. Now, a recent poll shows that 72% of Marylanders support the concept. The bill is scheduled for its first hearing in the House Ways and Means Committee this afternoon. Well, hazing is a crime in Maryland, yet it still continues in schools and universities across the state. Today, lawmakers in Annapolis heard testimony from two men who have filed lawsuits against separate college fraternities and for alleged hazing incidents. The plaintiffs, Kevin Hayes and Johnny Powell, told their stories here on CTV News yesterday. The men say they were badly beaten, and one says he was taken to an area hospital.
We went out every night between 5 and 8 hours. We were beaten with paddles, with hands. We were kicked. We were slapped. We were basically demeaned. And this is something I don't think anyone should ever have to go through.
Young people continue to get beat up, thrown into the trunks of cars, locked in basements for 10 hours with no food and water, with heavy metal music blaring. We're hearing crazy stories about it. And the reason why people don't know it's a crime is because the sanctions are so weak. The maximum fine we can impose is $500, which is the cost of a couple of kegs on a long weekend.
Now, Raskin says the bill would increase the penalty for hazing offenses from $500 to $5,000. And you're watching CTV News.